we're holding in the middle of Helek Dalek Derech Review of Derech Hashem, the chapter dealing with Kriyat Shema V'Lechotea. Briefly explained last time that Kriyat Shema has in it Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim. That's the essence of it. Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim means acceptance of the yoke of heaven. The importance of this is that this is where one finds the essence of the Avodah of the Jew. During the time of the Bet HaMikdash, the Avodah involved Korbanot as well. It involved some sort of tefillah as well. But today, since we don't have Korbanot, all we have is tefillah. And tefillah is divided into various parts. Even the Tefillat HaAmidah, the Shemona Esrei, is divided into several parts. But then Shech Knesset HaGdolah, the ones who compose the Siddur put together for the Berachot, various prayers, put together what is most important for us. The first part is to praise Hashem, but we don't take anything for granted. The second part of Kriyat Shema is our personal needs, to remind us that we are totally reliant on Hashem, that He's the source of our blessings, of our parnasah, our health, everything. And the third part of the Shemona Esrei is that we give thanks. Modim anachnu lach, we give thanks to Hashem. We don't just accept and take, but we also thank you for everything. All of this is important, all of that is concentrated in the Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, nevertheless, is not only words that have been composed and put together by the Chachamim, it's also part of the Torah. This is the essence of the Tefillah, the essence of the Avodah of the Jew, that is required on a daily basis, that he accept the yoke of heaven. So in the Kriyat Shema, there's some very powerful words, some very powerful messages. And when I say Kriyat Shema, I do not only mean the very first passage, Shema Yisrael, I mean the whole thing, including the words Baruch Shem Tevov V'Kol Olam Va'ed, which is very unique in itself. As we will see later, why do we say it quietly instead of Yom Kippurim? So we'll talk a little bit about that today. In continuation from where we left off, he says as follows: that the world, Ha'olam Mesudar, the world is arranged in such a way that if humanity, the human race, all of civilization, not only the Jews, were to do the will of Hashem, whatever is expected, whether it's the 7 Okad laws for the Goyim, whether it's for us, the Taryag Mitzvot, and even if they were not to do everything properly, but they would at least admit the Metziut of Hashem, they would admit and they would recognize the fact, Shehu Aboreh, they would not deny it. That would give a tremendous amount of Shef and Bracha to the entire world. On the contrary, if there is a denial of his existence, like we do today unfortunately, many groups, nations that are in total denial, then that brings it a tremendous amount of choshech, the opposite, tremendous amount of darkness to the world. How does that come about? Because when Hashem appears to be not to exist, because we do not make it, we do not believe it, then He removes Himself in the scene. That allows the Kohot Hara Litgaber, that allows the forces of evil to increase their power and their dominion over the world. In reality, Hashem has dominion, Yeshua Tashviton. But if we do not say it, and we do not demonstrate it, it is as though we are removing Him. We are causing Him to remove from the scene. And once He's removed, something else takes place. Now, obviously, we all know that nothing happens without His permission. But He allows it. That's the way He set it up. That's the way the world functions. That there's all this evil. How can Hashem allow it to happen? Because He set up a system that when He removes Himself from the scene, if it appears as though He has no dominion, then there's the Chotara that they have dominion. They have the Shilton. That is why it's important to be Mekabel Ol Malchut Shamayim, for us to repeatedly, on a daily basis, admit Hashem Melech, and that He has the Shilton, He is the one that rules over the world, and rules over everything, and everything is from Him. Because even by saying it, and the more so by practicing the mitzvot, we give Him the dominion. So Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, in a sense, we're giving the Malchut to Hashem. We're saying, Hashem, you are the Melech. Oh, I am the Melech. Now it's so I'm invited. In other words, I'm going to be your king, you're going to be my servant, then I'm going to be around. So if the whole world were to accept it, then the whole world would look at a different place. The rabbis tell us in the Midrash that if the Goyim only knew the benefit that the Bet HaMikdash brought about to the world, not just to the Jewish people, they would never have destroyed it. Number one, and number two, they would have put up guards to surround it. Not to allow anybody to get close to destroy it. If they only knew, we knew, but they did not know. If they only knew how much Shef and Bracha is brought to the entire human race. Unfortunately, it was destroyed, and we see the consequences of what happened as a result of Hashem removing Himself from Eretz Israel, even though our tradition says that the Shekinah is put in the Kotel HaMaravi, It's not completely removed from Eretz Israel. There's a special hashgacha on that land, much more unique in the entire world. Hashem mashgiach on the entire world. It's in the world, it's in the universe. But there is a hester panim. Hashem is hiding his face. The world today is not behaving itself as it should be. And that is another idea of what the Torah tells us in Pashat Lechukotai. If you want to know, if you want to have a barometer to know where Hashem is holding with us, how his relationship is with us, just look at three areas. Look at the economy, look at the weather, and look at your enemy. If your enemy is after you, you don't have peace of mind. You don't have menucha. The weather is not cooperating, right? You don't have enough rain. You have drought. And the economy is in ruins, in shambles. And that's an indication, you can use that as an indication of Hashem's relationship with you. You're not in good terms with him, so he's not in good terms with you. So he relates to us through these things. If you follow my Torah, my mitzvot, then you will have rain in this time, the enemies will not bother you, and you will have prosperity. On the contrary, you will not have all that prosperity. To remind you that what you're doing is not right. The Jewish people, for example, in Eastern Europe, in the past 200 years, broke all the rules. They had no more red lines. They assimilated. A Jew sometimes may do something wrong, but he has a red line that he doesn't go beyond. He will not assimilate. You see this even with a lot of secular Jews. They don't keep Shabbat, they don't keep anything. But oy vavoy, if their son comes home with a non-Jewish girl, what happened to you? Daddy, why are you so surprised? Why all of a sudden are you so Jewish? You didn't keep Shabbat, no Tarat HaMishpacha, no Kashrut. Why is this so important? Because they had a red line. They have no explanation for it. Why is this more important to them than something else? About one thing they did know, that was their line. Because you don't do this, that you don't do. And people had different lines. There was a time in Eastern Europe when everything became mutar. They totally assimilated and intermarried. If that's the case, they needed some reminder that they're Jewish. What was their reminder? Tzitzit they didn't have. Kriyat Shema they didn't say. They even assimilated. The only reminder was anti-Semitism. So Hashem uses anti-Semitism as a plea to remind us. So not only is this a lack of beracha, a lack of shefa, we're not doing Hashem's will, it's also a way of reminding the Jewish people, because we do have a special relationship with Hashem, and that relationship is based on a commitment we made. And if we don't keep our side of the commitment of the agreement, then Hashem has to tell us that. Otherwise we won't know, and we will totally be lost. So in some ways it's for our good, for our benefit that he lets us know. But one can tell, if one observes what's happening in the world, one can tell, that something is wrong. This is not the way the world should function. Weather is a good example. Weather basically follows certain rules. It's a mishtolel, if it goes wild, it's not right. Hashem made a perfect world. Remember, the weather is Hashem's world, it's not us. We're not perfect. If we do something wrong, we make a mistake, we insult somebody, we offended someone, then that's our free will. But the earthquakes and all this, what's going on? Why is it breaking up? Right? Why are there fires? All of this has nothing to do with us. It's because we're not doing something right, so Hashem is letting us know in His way that we've got to fix it. So when Am Yisrael mekabel al atzmo ol malchut shamayim, that makes a tremendous difference. That malchut shamayim is said in the Shema Yisrael on a daily basis. He goes on to explain another very important point, that by being mekabel al atzmo ol malchut shamayim, by accepting upon ourselves the yoke of heaven, we're doing a tremendous tikkun for the world. The world, in the end, will be metakem tatzmo, which will fix itself. It's going forward, headed in the direction of hashlama, it says. Everything has to be complete, everything has to be fixed and proper. But Hashem would have preferred that we do the fixing and not Him. Because in the end, everything is going to happen anyway. Everything is going to be done, everything is going to be perfect when Mashiach comes. But who was supposed to do all this work? Who was supposed to fix? Who was supposed to fix things in proper order? Adam, human beings. The fact that they didn't means that we've had all sorts of troubles all along. And in the end, Hashem will have to do it. How do we know that we're headed towards that, towards the Hashlama? One way that you can tell is that in the past 100 years or so, all of a sudden we have all these inventions and all these discoveries, all this technology. And every year there's more and more discoveries and more technology, and computers are replaced, and just things are going very, very fast, like a cassette that's about to finish. It goes very, very quick. So we know, we have a feeling that something is about to happen. And that's because the world is headed towards an end. So Hashem is throwing everything now. Everything that is intended for good use, of course, for this hashlama. So we have all of this knowledge that we could have had a lot before to make our life easier. And we'll be zocheh. So it's interesting, if we only observe, we will be able to see a lot of things. The rabbis tell us in different places in the Gemara that if man were to pay attention properly, he would be able to tell a lot of things. I gave you the example of weather and in economy. I gave you now the example of what's happening in today's generation and where the world is headed. But even in one's own personal life, not on a global scale, one can tell a lot of things. For example, something happens out of the ordinary. Let's say you're walking down the street and you're held up. Or you walk into a store and somebody decides to slap you in the face. Somebody that doesn't know you. He's just in a bad mood. Or somebody spilled ketchup on you, on your best suit that you just bought. Actually, I like a better example. From time to time we see these cars that just came out of the dealer. I worry for them. This guy must be so happy and so proud that this beautiful shiny car. Just imagine somebody just hits him on the very first day he came out of the dealer. I know it has happened. And can you imagine their frustration? You're not even sure it yet, maybe. Anyway, all of this is in Hashemayim. It wasn't because he wasn't careful enough. So if you pay close attention, if you observe everything, you should be able to tell. The Rabbi tells us that even through a dream, Hashem communicates with us. Depending on the level of the person, the dreams are either real dreams or they're just part of his imagination, depending on one part of the night. But in safek, that Hashem communicates with us during the night through a dream. The Rabbi tells us if you haven't dreamt anything for a while, you should be concerned. Because Hashem doesn't want to talk to you. Hashem doesn't want to, you're so distant from him that he doesn't even speak to you in a dream. So anyway, Adam Sheroeh, Sheisurim Ba'im Alav, a person that sees that something is happening to him that's not right, he has to examine his DPS and check himself what's going on. As I told you once, the story is Rabbi Elyahu Kin, that he was walking down the stairs to the Yeshiva, and he fell down. He tripped. And he sat down. After the trip, he sat down on one of the steps, and the students came over to him. He said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yes, I'm alright." He said, "Why are you sitting down?" "I'm thinking why I fell. Why did I fall? Why did this happen to me?" You were sensitive. You were sensitive. You pay attention to what happens in your life, you should be able to figure out what's going on. That doesn't mean that every little thing, there's a big hashbon. There's certain things that are part of the mazal. People have come to me, they come all the time. The Rabbi, our parnasai is no good. Does that mean that Hashem did an avirah? Not necessarily. It could be that the economy is no good. It could be that the person's mazal is such that for a number of years he won't be doing as well. It doesn't necessarily have to do with his ma'asim that he just did right now. But the rabbis tell us at least that's the first area to check. If you couldn't find anything there, you may be able to blame it on something else. But many times we are to blame for something that we did, but because of a particular ma'aseh or ma'asim, Hashem sends us a slap in the face, one way or another. We get a ticket for $250, or whatever it is, it's a kafarah. Okay, so now that we understand that the Shema, by saying the Shema, we are accomplishing a great deal, we're giving the Shilton to Borei Olam, he explains, he takes apart the whole Shema. He says as follows: the Shema Israel in itself, the very first passage, is divided into, has three components to it. Actually, we'll do that later. Before we get to the components, he says one more thing. That the Shema Israel, besides the Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, has the essence of what we call Kiddush Hashem. What's the essence of Kiddush Hashem, of sanctifying God's name? When a Jew behaves like a Jew, and fulfills the mitzvot, has a good name, then he's Mekadesh Hashem, he sanctifies Hashem's name. People say, look, this is a Jew, he's honest, he doesn't lie, he doesn't cheat. All of this is fine, but the greatest aspect of Kiddush Hashem is Shadam Mukhan Le'akriv Etzmo Kiddush Hashem. When one is willing to go as far as to sacrifice his life, to give his life for Hashem. That's the greatest, the epitome, right? The real essence of Kiddush Hashem. He's willing to sanctify Hashem's name to the point of sacrificing his life. If he's put to the test or to the challenge. We're not in Spain right now during the Inquisition. We're not in a situation where we're being asked to give our lives. So how can we fulfill this mitzvah? Remember the story with Rabbi Akiva when he was saying, I was waiting for this time? How about us? What should we do? I don't wish it for anybody in a sense because it's not. But the way it is, it's big madriga. It is a tremendous level, but we also want to live. So the rabbis tell us that today, the Kiddush Hashem, you can fulfill ayidei machshava. The thoughts are very powerful. What you think about is very meaningful. And the Torah is maktidah not only on the terula l'tova, on some action that is not right, but even on the thoughts. Just as we're both Hashem, thankful to Hashem that He doesn't punish us for our thoughts the same way. Right? For the hirhurim, but they're very dangerous. They're no good if you have the wrong ideas, the wrong thoughts. And we know that every mitzvah that has the proper kavanah is much more effective because not only was there a maaseh, a deed, an action, there was also the right thought. You meant it. Imagine when you buy your wife a birthday card. What you just do is, let's say, the chovah. You just pick it. You happen to be in Savon to buy some ice cream or whatever. You know, my wife's birthday, I'm going to buy her a card too. And you didn't even bother to fill it in. You just looked for something that's already pre-written, pre-typed. And you chose something that's nice. Well, that's very thoughtful. It's very nice. It counts. Worth something. At least you did it. Imagine if you didn't do anything. You forgot. Oy vavoy leka. Right? If you forgot. Right? But imagine if you did more. You went and bought the card. You actually filled it in yourself. You took the time. Wrote some words. And you really mean it too. Well, hopefully the other side will be able to tell that, you invested a lot. And she will be very thankful, very grateful. Unfortunately, all of this happiness only lasts you about an hour or two. She's going to complain to you about something else afterwards. That's life, I'm sorry. But that's the way things work, But at least you have 2 hours of happiness, right? 3 hours? Okay, but it's worth it, right? You have to have peace, shlom bayit for a couple hours. So what should we do if we want happiness 24 hours a day? Well, you have to be nice. I told somebody yesterday, he asked me, he said, "Oh Hashem, my wife has finally agreed to be careful with Taharat HaMishpacha." I said, "Great, beautiful, very nice." He says, so then he asked me, "Well, can I at least kiss her during that time?" So I said, "No, you cannot get any clothes." And I explained to him why. What's the problem? So I said, "But don't worry, you can show affection to your wife in other ways." He says, "Yeah, really? How?" Just wash the dishes. You can show affection in other ways too. There's many ways to show affection. If a person shows that he's kind, he's considerate in more than one way, then he'll have peace, not for an hour or two, but hopefully 24 hours. It's wishful thinking, but it's not easy, right? We all have our challenges, and life is very demanding, and because life is demanding, it takes a toll. So you really have to work on yourself. If people do not work on their midot, on themselves, then life takes a toll, and because of the strains of life, people become moody and do not really act the way they would prefer to act. And some people drift as a result of that. So you have to be intelligent, and you have to take the time to invest in the relationship so that it should last forever. So we said that the essence, one of the most important points of the Shema Yisrael is that one should be willing to give his life. Today, if we're not challenged, at least the machshava. According to the Kabbalah, there's even a segula, a good segula for a person. If he sees that the Yetzer Hara is disturbing him, he should have in mind as though they're about to throw him in the fire. Because it's Jewish. He should say the pasuk Esh Tamid Tifchad Al HaMizbeach Lo Tichbeh. There's certain segulot that help cool down the Yetzer Hara. Stop bothering you right now. By thinking about that pasuk, and by having a machshava that Hashem, I'm willing to die for you right now. I'd be willing to be thrown into the fire and not to commit this avera. So if a person who's sitting on his bed has all sorts of thoughts that are not proper, has these machshavot and these, or says this pasuk, this will help him. It's a very powerful segula. Besides the fact that is in a way of fulfilling this mitzvah of being mekadesh Hashem, even though you're not actually being thrown to the fire, you're not being challenged, but having the machshava, the thought itself is very important. You have the right thoughts, like even my example with your spouse, you not only did it, but you actually thought about it. The machshava is very important. Here we don't have the maaseh, but at least you have the machshava. It also counts. It counts. What's the importance of Kiddush Hashem? So he explains briefly that when somebody actually does it, but even if the machshava alone, it causes tremendous tikkunim in this world. And somehow it probably removes a tremendous accusation from Am Yisrael, the sotem tapeh shel satan shel mekapeg, he shuts his mouth. He doesn't say that, but I think that's what he basically means. He does all sorts of tikkunim in this world. Look at this. This is a tremendous example. Like the Gemara says, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is proud of certain individuals. One individual that Hashem is extremely proud of is a young man in his early 20s who has tons of money. He's handsome, good looking. He lives amongst prostitutes in Goyim that are mufkarim, and he doesn't sin. Hashem is proud of him because he has all the reason and all the means and the ease to commit an averah. He's good looking, he has money, he's young, and he lives among them, and he still holds himself down. Hashem is proud of him. Because that should take tremendous amounts of strength and emunah, not to resist the yetzer. So somehow, this mitzvah, and even the machshava of giving one to himself of Kiddush Hashem, does a tremendous tikkun, it leaves a tremendous impression upstairs. Hashem is proud of them. Another idea of looking at Kiddush Hashem as being the essence of the epitome of Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim is the idea of love, of ahava. The Pasuk says in Pashat Kedoshim ve'ahavta and Derecha kamocha. You should like your friend as much as you like yourself. I've spoken about this in the past, that that's something very difficult if we take it literal. How could you love somebody as yourself? And the rabbis tell us that the meaning, the basic interpretation is, do not do unto another what you do not want done to you. In other words, be concerned for the welfare, the well-being of your fellow Jew, as much as you want them to be concerned for your well-being. But I've also explained that ahava in Judaism means to give. That's the essence of ahava. It's not the desire of anid of say, or have. I want something for myself, I want to possess it, like the Goyim understand love. Love means that you want to give. So what's the meaning of giving to another, to a friend, as much as you give to yourself? As much as you want for yourself, you should want for your friend. What that means is that you should reach a point of such unselfishness that you'd be willing to do almost anything for the other person. Just like you'd be willing to do almost anything for yourself. Is there one person out there that you are willing to be unselfish with? Unselfish meaning to do almost anything for them, as much as you would want to do it, as much as you would want to do it for yourself. If yes, then you are mekayem the mitzvah. That was trying to get into the habit of becoming unselfish. Do unto another what you want. I just gave you the example of the rabbi's interpretation in the negative sense. Don't do to him what he doesn't want to do to you. Now I'm saying it differently. Look at it positively. Do unto him what you want people to do for you. You want people to lend you, to help you, take care of you, to do the same unto others. Show unselfishness. Unselfish. Ahava, true ahava means that one is able to be unselfish with at least one individual in this world. Completely unselfish. That's ahava. Ahava means you love him, you're basically one unit with that other person. Like he's an extension of you. Just like you want to do for yourself, you want to do for the other. The exact same thing. That's very rare. It's very difficult. But why is it difficult? Because people are selfish. If you remove the selfishness, then it's easier to do for the other. Now, obviously, some people like to do certain things for others more than for others. And people have choices and preferences. Yeah. But that could be arbitrary. There could be a relative of theirs, and a person, of course, is closer to one's relatives, would be willing to do more for his relative. That's okay. That's fine. The Torah, all the Torah is emphasizing is develop that trait of wanting for others also, not only for yourself. And Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, we see the same idea. As it says later on, what follows Shema Yisrael? The love for Hashem. In other words, Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, be prepared to do everything for Hashem. Just like you want for yourself, like you do for yourself. The ultimate ahava, the ultimate Ol Malchut Shamayim is that you're willing to do anything and anything for Hashem. And in order to be able to do that, one has to be unselfish. If one thinks of himself first, oh, I'm so tired, I want to sleep late, how can I get up early the next morning? Right? Then you're thinking of yourself. So Hashem says, I want to see you. I want to speak to you. Right? So if you're unselfish, you value these moments, you know what you're accomplishing, what you're doing with the Ashman and Tefillah, then you will do it. You see a poor man come through your door, and you say to yourself, well, I just gave somebody enough money, I don't have to do this anymore, let the guy go find himself a job. That's all the Yetzer Hara taught. The person really loves Hashem. Hashem would love me if I would help this man out. Hashem would love me if I were to do this mitzvah. If I love Hashem, of course I'd want to do this. So you bring him in, you smile at him, you offer him a cup of tea perhaps, and you sit him down. The more a Jew is mechaber the mitzvah, the more a Jew shows love for a mitzvah, whichever mitzvah it is, he shows with that love for the mitzvah, his love for Hashem. The more a Jew belittles the mitzvah, the more he's cool to the mitzvah, he shows how cool he is with his relationship with Hashem. It's a mirror image. The more we care about mitzvah, the more it shows how much we care about Hashem. So that's really the idea behind Kriyat Shema. Right now he gets into dividing up the Shema Yisrael. The Shema Yisrael is divided up into several parts. The three components, as I mentioned earlier in the first part of the Shema, is Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shema, is Edut, that we give testimony. We're saying Shashem Echad, Shashem is the Melech, he rules over everything. That's the first component. The second component is Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shema, that we accept the yoke of heaven. It's one thing to say, yes, he's the king, but are you willing to be the servant? That's another idea. So that is also included in the Shema Yisrael. And the third part is what we just finished saying, is the willingness, limaser, al kiddush shemo, to give our lives for him if necessary. We're willing to do everything. That's the first part of Shema Yisrael. Now follows Baruch Shem Tivol Malchut Olam Habayim. What Baruch Shem Tivol Malchut Olam Habayim is a very special expression. It involves kavod, the kavod of the Malchut, the honor of the kingdom of Hashem. When a Jew fulfills the mitzvot, when he's mechaber al atzmo ol malchut shamayim, the yoke of heaven, the light of Hashem, the Shah of Hashem, come upon him. So a Jew can sanctify himself, can elevate himself by doing the mitzvot of Hashem, by getting closer to Hashem. Nevertheless, during all this time that he's working on himself and fulfilling the mitzvot, he's never complete. He's never complete. Human being has a mixture of Ra and Tov in him. He's not complete. Who is complete? Who does not have any Ra in him? Only the angels. Angels have no Ra in them. So only they are allowed to say, Baruch Shem Tivol Malchut Olam Habayim. We, nevertheless, because we are partially good, and we are attempting to elevate ourselves, we say it too, but we say it quietly. In other words, we do not have the right to say these words out loud because of the mixture of Ra that we have. We're not. It's a special expression that involves the kavod of the malchut, and only one who is himself holy can say it. When do we say it out loud? On Yom Kippur. Because in Yom Kippur we are like malachim. So then we allow ourselves to say it out loud. That's a brief idea behind the Baruch Shem Tivol Malchut Olam, that it's a very special expression. It's a different idea that involves the kavod of Hashem, and we say it quietly because we're not yet shlemim, we're not yet complete. Hashem came the malachim, and the malachim are the ones that say this pasuk at all times, every day. Alright, what do we see in the Parshiyot of Shema? As you know, the Shema is divided into several parts. In the very beginning, we saw the Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, the yoke of heaven. The second part of Shema, the second chapter, Vayam Shamoah, is the Kabbalat Ol Mitzvot, is acceptance of the mitzvot. It's not only the yoke of heaven, but also to fulfill the mitzvot. And the third part of the Shema, Pashat Tzitzit, what's mentioned there? Something else that's important is Yetziat Yisrael. As we will see soon, what's the importance of Zecher Yetziat Yisrael? And we say it so often, that we mention it so much. But basically, that's what the Shema involves, these three parts. The first part, right after Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, we say Be'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. What's involved over there? Over there, we demonstrate how the love for Hashem should be. It should be a complete love, and a complete love means in every respect, in all walks of our life. The Kol V'Avcha with all your heart, no matter. The way I explain the Kol V'Avcha, because there's different interpretations, both of you are studying, I explain it very simply. It means in all your moods, whether you're in a good mood or in a bad mood, no matter what kind of a heart you have today. Ahavat Hashem always applies. You can't say I'm in a bad mood today. I'm not going to do this. No, the Kol V'Avcha in every situation you are. Kol Nafshecha, even if you have to give your life. The Kol Nafshecha with all your possessions. Don't be stingy. Be willing to spend money on buying or fulfilling your mitzvah. So the first part deals with Ahavat Hashem and how to demonstrate it. If you really love Hashem, you demonstrate it in every way possible. And the second part of that same chapter is that all this love and all this Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, don't forget to give it over to your children. Right? That's the second part. All this great important mitzvah and midah, don't forget, it's your responsibility also to give it over to your children. That's the father's responsibility. What comes after that? After that, we have V'shivtecha bebetecha u'lechtecha b'derech. What does that come to do? What does that come to say? That in all the walks of your life, what that means is that when you sleep, when you eat, when you're doing business, not only when you're praying and doing the mitzvah, your love for Hashem, your observance of the mitzvot, your living as a Jew has to express itself in whatever you do. When you're at work, think of Hashem too. When you're doing business, why are you eating? You're eating just because you love to eat? No, because you want to be healthy, because you want to serve Hashem. So there's an emphasis there in all the walks of life, in all your activities, you should have Hashem in mind. And the last part of that paragraph is meaning that your house too should be sanctified. Your house too receives a tikkun. You are getting a tikkun. You're being metaken all the aspects of your life. And the last part is the mezuzot. What does that come to say? That your home is being metaken as well. But this is a bet mikdash me'ad, it's like a small temple, where you will fulfill the mitzvot of Hashem, where you will allow Hashem to reside, you will educate your children to follow this derech. Right? It's not just a castle. There's something else to the home. And we sanctify our home. We bring in separim, not just imported furniture in Italy. Right? Separim is Hashem to sanctify the home. It's Dusha. So that is the idea of the mezuzot. So that is a tikkun for the home as well. Then we have Kabbalat all mitzvot, so we take upon ourselves to do all the mitzvot. And last but not least, we have Parashat Yitziat Mitzrayim, the Parashat Tzitzit. What's the significance of Yitziat Mitzrayim? So he explains that Yitziat Mitzrayim is remembered because it was a tremendous tikkun for Am Yisrael. Ever since Adam Harishon, ever since Adam Harishon sinned, the world was in chaos, in a sense. There was a mixture of Ra and Tov. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu started removing slowly but surely the Ra from the Tov by choosing one individual who had a high concentration of who was that first individual? Avraham Avinu. From all his generation, he had the most. But he was not ready. How do we know he was not ready? Because he had a son Yishmael. Avraham was not 100% perfect yet, but he also had Yitzhak. Who of the two was the more perfect one? Yitzhak. So from Abraham he took Yitzhak. Yitzhak was not ready either. So he had Esau. So Hashem removes, filters out, as we explained in the past. Hashem is filtering from the Avot all the Ra that is mixed there, and he takes Yaakov. Finally, Yaakov is Kulot Tov. That's what he has 12 beautiful, righteous children. So says, from these 12 kids, I'm going to make Am Yisrael. I need a people who will be willing to do what I tell them. If they will accept the Torah mitzvot. You can't imagine you're going away. You have a company. You're going to be away for a month. Oh, you will probably appoint someone to manage it. Who are you going to take? You're going to take one of the employees who you can rely on, who is diligent, who is smart, who knows the business. Are you going to give it to somebody who is lazy, who doesn't know what he's doing, right? Who likes to smoke and takes many breaks? In Israel I heard that there's an expression, that there's a job called 804. 804. You know what it means? You come at 8, you do 0, and you leave at 4. They're always drinking coffee, and smoking, and taking a break. Yeah. 804. Would you appoint somebody like that? There are people like that who take advantage. They don't do anything all day. You ever wonder why there's bureaucracy? Because they don't want to do any work. Otherwise, there shouldn't be a bureaucracy. Do your job, right? They don't want to do it. They're just cheating. So Hashem says, I want people that I can rely on. Am Yisrael, Hashem can rely on us. He said, Ishma, Hashem, we did a good job. We failed sometimes. What can we do? We're human too. But Hashem realized that Am Yisrael has the best chance. If they have the most talk, he's filtering out all the bad and the good. But it's not complete yet. Until when? Until they go to Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is the Pura Baradel. So where they really go through the fire. They really learn to become servants, because they're servants to Pharaoh. They really go through this tremendous amount of work and slavery, that somehow this galut process, this diaspora in Egypt, instills in them whatever it is that Hashem needs of them to make them ready to receive the Torah. Once they leave Egypt, they spend a number of weeks in the desert, they're ready to accept the Torah. So our tradition is that this is what did it. Galut Mitzrayim was not just a kapara. Of course, our tradition says it had to do with Bechirat Yosef. It had to do with something that Hashem already promised to Avraham Avinu B'Brit B'Nebetarim, that the children will be in a land, in a foreign land. There's obviously always more than one reason for whatever happens in history. But nevertheless, Hashem is told. Hashem is always good, and what He does is good. So something good, some benefit came out of Neshama. Actually, a tremendous benefit came out. But this is what gave them the final tikkun that they needed before they accepted the Torah as well. So we mentioned that. That is part of the Shema Yisrael, that we remember Yetziat Mitzrayim, that this is what gave us a tikkun, and we were because of Mitzrayim that we were able to receive the Torah when we left Egypt. According to the Kabbalah, he says there's one more tikkun in the whole Kriyat Shema. There's 248 words. Keneged Ramach Evarim Sheba Adam. That is the 248 limbs that man has. And that is the tikkun that is being done by reading the Kriyat Shema, by reading the 248 words. We're making a tikkun in our bodies. This tikkun is connected to 248 parts of creation. In the creation, there is also something called Ramah parts, like 248 parts of the Kriyat, and one is Leumazeh, Zeh Keneged Zeh. And by saying the words of the Shema, somehow we're able to make that tikkun on ourselves and make tikkun in the world. The last part of the chapter deals with the brachot shetiknu hachamim. In the Shema, we have brachot before the Shema Yisrael that we say after Yishtabach, and the final bracha right after the Shema, right before we start the Amidah. What does the brachot have to do with? In the brachot, we basically see two types of chidushim. Akadosh Baruch Hu mechadesh ha'olam. Every day, he renews the world. What is exactly renewed? So it says the chidushim, the renewal, occurs in two ways. There's two types of renewals. One is the fact the world continues to exist. The earth continues to rotate on its axis. The stars continue to shine. We are able to breathe. The fact that this happens itself every day, that is a chidush in itself. Nothing ceases to exist, but continues. How does it continue? Because Hashem allowed it to do. So that when we say that we're giving praise to this fact that Hashem allows the world to continue to exist. It's a chidush, as though He's recreating the world on a daily basis. The second type of chidush is the 6 days of the week, he says. All the days, actually, in the 6,000 years, they all have a purpose. They all bring down their own shefa into this world. So every single day is a chidush in itself. No day is comparable to the day before. Every day has its significance and its contribution. That is the meaning of mechadesh b'tzuvo b'kol yom ma'aseh v'reshit. That ever since from the beginning of creation, HaKadosh Baruch Hu designated what each day of creation will do, and that is why every single day is in itself a chidush. So when we talk about it, the praise to Hashem, we have that in mind. Then we talk about the praise of the various briot, the various creations that Hashem created, and we distinguish between the two types of creations. One is that the yonim and the tachtonim, what Hashem created in the upper world, and what Hashem created in the lower worlds. And when we say the lower world, we're referring to the goyim. And after that, we talk about Am Yisrael itself, in Ahavat Olam. The Ahavat Olam, and we say, and among all your creations, you chose us, and you've demonstrated an eternal love for us. So we talk about that, and we give praise to Hashem in emphasizing that relationship, that creation, which is the Jewish people, which is different than everything else. After the Shema, the last praise is Al Kol HaNisim, and all the miracles that have occurred in the past and that continue to occur on a daily basis. So all of these are words of praise that are also part of the Shema Shetiknu Hachamim, the Hachamim put together. As we were saying, as we were accepting the yoke of heaven, we should keep in mind all that happens around us on a daily basis. Alright, the last point is that this important as part of the Tefillah is said in the morning and is also said in the evening. But the main part is said in the morning. Because in the morning is when you are like the B'riyah Chadashah, like a new creation, as though Hashem gave you back your life. So there's a chidush in yourself too. There's a renewal in yourself too. It's like you're being reborn. So that is the proper time to say the Shema. So the main Shema is really in the morning. But rabbis also told us to say Shema The evening, because the evening represents the end of the day. So it is like we are combining the end and the beginning with the Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim. And then you have the third Shema, before you go to sleep, which has its own ideas. And it's a very, very powerful segula to everybody. If you want to have good dreams, you want to have a good night of sleep, it all depends how you fall asleep, how you prepare yourself. Don't fall asleep watching TV. You should never watch TV. But definitely not to fall asleep from it. Don't fall asleep listening to the radio. The rabbis encourage fall asleep if you can with a sefer in your bed. That would be a beautiful way to fall asleep. But not everybody wants to fall asleep with a sefer because they don't want the sefer, the book to fall down on the floor, or for whatever other reason. You don't need to have a sefer in your bed, but at least say the Kriyat Shema, say the Berachot, and don't talk to anybody after that. That should be your last communication of the day. You're speaking to Hashem, not speaking to anybody else. So if a person goes to sleep with the proper kavanot, when I say proper kavanot, means that he makes a heshbon nefesh if possible. In the Kriyat Shema Lamita, there's various things that you could say, which is basically asking Hashem forgiveness for whatever happened during the day, saying the Shema B'Chavanah, saying the various Berachot HaMafil. All of that is a very powerful way of going to sleep, and it's a segula of having protection from all sorts of things that can go wrong at night. I'm not going to elaborate what I mean by things that can go wrong. All things can go wrong. If you have a good protection for that room, you have a mezuzah. If you're a man, highly recommend to sleep with a tzitzit, even though you don't have to. And if you learn some Torah before you go to sleep, I try, this is many years, to say at least one Mishnah before I go to sleep, or to learn another sefer. That should be the last thing. You should go to sleep yourself to shot, out of good thoughts, not out of problems. What am I going to do tomorrow? Headaches. And if you, of course, had a fight with your wife, make up before you go to sleep. So there's several. First of all, you want to have a good night's sleep. Second of all, you want to wake up next morning and find her that she's still there. That she didn't run out. Right? But before that, right? You want to take care of all your business before. Then take the Kriyat Lamita, say the Chavanah Eliyah, and Zat Hashem will have sweet dreams. Sweet dreams and good night's sleep. The Zohar says that the Kriyat Shema, you must keep composing to the Shema with Hashem, right? And he is a shomer al שהוא שומר לך על הרכוש, הוא חייב להחזיר לך את זה בשלמות ובסייפות. That is why we say מודה אני לפניך when we wake up in the morning. Some people don't wake up. Right? Some people don't wake up. You don't take it for granted. You give thanks to Borei Olam in the morning. שומר פיקדון על הנשמה שלך. Yeah, exactly. But a lot of how a person has to go to sleep and what he dreams has to do with how he prepares himself. And there's no doubt that if the whole day went by, that the dreams that he will have will be true dreams, that he will be able to go to sleep without any doubt and any worries, and wake up like